Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund have failed to reach a clear agreement to unlock the crucial $1.1 billion in terms of bailout funds. And this comes just hours after local media had reported that all matters had been settled and the Prime Minister had also approved of the deal. Now, according to reports, the IMF is still not satisfied with the current price of petroleum and energy in the country and has sought more time for negotiations. Now, the IMF delegation is due to fly out of the country later in the day today after 10 days of talks. The World Agency has been at odds with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's government over unlocking the latest tranche of a draft $6.5 billion package that was agreed way back in 2019. Reports quoted Pakistan's Finance Secretary as saying that the deal would soon be reached and that there would be some points that would still need to be addressed. Now, Pakistan and IMF failed to reach a staff-level agreement, which is needed to release the funds. Now, Pakistan has been the host for these talks since last week in a bid to access the funds, which are crucial for the country's economy, that at this moment is facing a serious balance of payment crisis, with foreign exchange reserves having dwindled to below $3 billion. Now, IMF wants Pakistan to boost the low tax base, also end the tax exemptions for the export sector and to raise artificially low petrol, electricity and gas prices that are meant to help the low-income families. It's also pushing for Pakistan to keep a sustainable amount of US dollars in the bank through guarantees of further support from friendly nations such as Saudi Arabia, China and the United Arab Emirates. This comes a day after reports from Pakistan had said that petrol pumps in the cities across the Punjab province were facing some acute fuel shortages. And now the Pakistani government has warned oil companies against hoarding of petrol. Years of financial mismanagement and political instability is what has damaged Pakistan's economy. The country has been pushed to the limit by the devastating floods that struck the country last year and at this moment is trying really hard to avoid an economic meltdown. And to give us more updates in terms of what's exactly happened with the IMF deal, we're being joined by our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who's joining us live on this broadcast. Anas, this was, of course, a crucial bit of an agreement which Pakistan was hoping to strike with the IMF. Now, what was being reported all through yesterday, it was said that Pakistan and the IMF were very close to striking a deal, but with the details that have now emerged, it appears that the deal to provide a bailout for Pakistan has not been struck.
Well, what we know so far, Saleh, that this was more of a lifeline or a crucial lifeline for Islamabad, which it has not been able to avail as yet, and the emphasis is on the word as yet, because the MEFP, the Memorandum of Economic and Financial Policies, has been given to Pakistan by the IMF as what has been claimed by the Pakistani Secretary of Finance. Though there is no staff level agreement, but there are some issues that it believes, the Pakistani side believes that the IMF needs a nod or clarity from that on Washington, and therefore discussions on the Pakistani staff level agreement will continue in Washington, and they're expecting the matters to be resolved in the coming days, if not hours. Just a short while back, before the IMF delegation departed, we heard it from the news agency Reuters, quoting the head of the delegation, saying that the discussions on the new IMF, the staff level agreement, would not be waited until the board meeting takes place to be ratified. In fact, it can very well be, the consultations very well be virtual. So that is more of a hope to Islamabad that things are somewhat moving in the positive trajectory. Having spoken to sources yesterday, we heard quite a lot of back and forth that there was some sort of an agreement that the Pakistani Prime Minister, who is not directly a party to whatever the negotiations are being done, has sort of quote-unquote approved the IMF deal or the IMF package, but that was just one side of the story. In reality, it is the IMF that has to really say that we're satisfied and contented with whatever that the Pakistani government has said or committed, because it is not just the government that has to commit to them, but rather the system.
Right.
Because previously we saw that Imran Khan was the one who opted out of the IMF deal despite of having committed to it. So there were 4 areas of non-cooperation or disagreements. There was a standoff. The first was being the demand was that an overall economic overhaul needs to be done. Then the second was to do the restructuring of debt. The third was that the funds should not be cut down for development, and there was another one with regards to the agenda points that were considered to be that of a standoff point between IMF technical team and the Pakistani government.
All right, now very quickly, Anas, because we are short of time, one of the key aspects in terms of the disagreements between the Pakistani government and the IMF in the negotiations was also about the price of petrol in Pakistan. Does this mean that for Pakistan to actually clinch this deal with the IMF, the price of petrol in Pakistan will have to go up even further?
Well, it was not just limited to petrol. It was basically reforms in all economic sectors, anything that has even remotely to do with economy, petrol, gas, electricity, or other places or other areas where the economics are directly interlinked. That needs to be reformed, and in purview of the question you just asked, because the Pakistani rupee has taken a sharp dip of about 37%, losing its value against the US dollar. We saw a raise being done. So in the coming days, we would be expecting 2 things. First, the petrol prices going up, and then they going up furthermore in light of the agreement that might be reached, because with the implementation of the GST, the 17% GST, the general sales tax. Saleh.
All right, very interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Anas, for joining us and getting us those details. We'll of course come back to you as more details emerge in this story. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.